Hey folks, Fernando doing our video for the Modern Survivalist, and something that was requested a while back about doing a video regarding the different grips available for the Colt Python. I finally ended up with the original ones. These are the original Walnut grips, the most highly sought after, and cool story is that I ended up with these pretty much by luck, looking at in a local website market thing. Someone had a Colt grips for sale, and turned out that it was just these ones. So yes, I know they're kind of pricey, but I ended up for $50, something like that. Now before ending up with these, that in my opinion are the ones that look best. That's why they're so sought after. They just look fantastic and better than anything else. I had bought these ones before. These are from Thailand. If you find them online on eBay, you will come across these ones. They are okay. Of course, these are not original Colt grips. And a little bit more on that later when I take these on, because I'm going to be changing them for these ones. The gun originally came with the Patchmeyer gripper grips, which is this one. This is maybe the most comfortable one, right? The one that is, if you're going to be using the gun, which, you know, more of that later. How much are you going to be using a Colt Python? Are you going to be using it a lot? Are you going to be carrying a Python? I mean, I was back in the day, from not that long ago, when yes, people did have their Pythons for hunting, for carry, and it was a gun, a working gun for some people. The last few years, especially last decade or so, it's more of a collector's piece, and you end up in this point where yes, it's a fine gun. It's one of the best revolvers ever made. But at the same time, it's somewhat of a collector's piece that has a lot of value. So how much are you going to be using and putting wear on that gun, knowing how much it costs and how much you're going to be affecting that? Kind of stops being reasonable. For me, it's a gun I simply enjoy. And going back into the topic of the principle of the thing. Why is it that you end up with one of these guns? Well, it's going to be for several reasons. Of course, collectability is going to be there. The cool factor of having a Python, definitely there. You just like having it. I like taking it to the range and shooting it. It's a gun I actually shoot. And it's also a gun that, I mean, at the end of the day, it's still a .357 Magnum with a 6-inch barrel. It's very accurate, very powerful, and if you ever need a handgun for what handguns are intended for, this is gonna be plenty gun for you. And one of the things I've learned over the years is don't buy crap, buy quality. Quality is always worth it. In my years, and this is advice I've given to different people, especially guys that are new into shooting and such, is, you know, whenever you buy crap or you buy mediocre quality, eventually you end up happy with it or not, but eventually you look back and say, I wish I had bought this other thing. With a Python, you know that's not going to be happening. You know that 10 years from now, 20, 50 years from now, you're still going to be the guy with a Python. If you want to sell it, you're going to be getting a nice chunk of money for it. And if you want to use it, it's a gun's going to be working quite nicely for you as well. Yeah, sure, there's stories about how fragile the Python is, and that goes back to something that I've discussed in previous videos about the price of the gun affecting the opinion people have of it. A lot of folks simply cannot afford a Python, and they're going to be crapping on it because they're not going to be getting one, and that's as close as they're ever going to get. And then there's the thing about even a crappy beat to hell Python is going to be going for a lot of money, and someone that struggles to get to that point where he actually can afford one, he's going to be buying the cheapest one he can. And usually the cheapest, most affordable Python is going to be one that is in pretty bad condition, in pretty poor shape. If you get something like this, there's none of that happening. It's a fine firearm by all means. And sure, it's a gun that, going back to its history, is intended to be used in a certain manner. Every few thousand rounds, you're going to be checking on it, and if parts need to be changed because of wear, because of, you know, thousands of rounds of .357 Magnum put through it, yes, that is natural and it is expected. as it is in any other gun. Guns are not indestructible pieces of magical equipment from your Dungeons and Dragons. These are things that have moving parts where, especially when there's a 357 Magnum cartridge inside, igniting. That's the kind of natural thing that happens. But going back to the topic of this video is the different grips. So you have these ones, which are the ones I like the most. The gripper ones would be the most comfortable ones. Then you have the presentation grips. I basically ended up with the four most common grips that are floating around for pythons. The two patch mine ones. The presentation grips I like a lot, but they're quite heavy and bulky. I realized that these, ironically enough, of the three, the ones I'm going to be leaving the gun with are these ones, because they are very nicely made. The wood is exotic wood from Thailand. It's some kind of hardwood that looks beautiful. Yet it's not the original thing. That's covered. But these are $200 grips. These are $30 grips. And I actually got a good price on these because they easily go for double that. So yeah, let's get to it. One of the little things you try to keep in mind with this is so as to not screw up and mess up the screw that you have. You use either a little patch of paper or a cleaning patch. In this case, I'm going to be using just a little bit of paper, so you get it in there and adjusting. You remove the grips. Getting the grips on is a little bit tricky because they fit well, but they need a little bit of hand adjustments, and you have to be careful with this because it's wood and like everything Python related, it's a little fortune, anything that you mess up here, so you don't want to get it wrong. But basically what you want to do when you're replacing your grips in a Python is adjust it by hand, see how you get it to fit well, and when you get to that sweet spot where it's fitting just right, then you tighten the screw. That's at least what you should be doing for this kind of wooden grips. Okay, seems like we're good there, and these just fall out of place. Well, this one is a little bit, there you go, comes off. So yes, this is the Python on the inside. It's a beautiful gun. It's just such a nice, enjoyable piece, and a fine firearm on its own right. The grips, these would be original ones. There's really nothing. You can tell between there's a ton of fake ones floating around. These are sometimes sold as, or something similar. One of the first tells is the original Python grips do not have golden screws. It's always going to be a black one like this one. That's the first sign. And there's really no, one of the things I looked into, it says in the Colt forum, is if there's anything else, any markings, any number. No, there's really nothing. Sometimes they have a number scribbled by hand, but that's basically it. Then it's just, there's nothing else to go by. You just have to know what an original Python grip looks like, and you kind of see the fine work there. It's very well machined, nicely machined on the inside. But that's it. That's that. There's not a lot more to it. And when it comes to preserving these things, you just put them in a bag so as to keep them from, away from contact from air. Especially with the rubber ones, what I did is put a little bit of this silicone so as to have them well preserved, and the bag keeps the oxygen away, which is this thing that actually oxidizes rubber. So these two especially are to be kept like that. And that's it. So yeah, well, one of the reasons why I like these is, first of all, I'm not having to use anything special care in regards to messing up the grips, and that just makes it more enjoyable. I'm not shooting a ton with this gun, to be completely honest, just every once in a while, but it's nice to do so without worrying about damaging your nicer grips. Oh, about the book, guys, I know some of you folks have been pretty asking about it quite a bit. I don't mind that one bit. I don't mind that at all. It encourages me to work better, harder, and the book is done. That's it. The book is already done. I'm just finalizing a few things, especially with the ISBN and some of the proofreading and checking that everything is okay. I don't want to put out something that I'm not happy with, but this is the book of my 3 books. This is the one I like the most. This is one of my first book, which was by far the most successful one. Is a book that I cannot pick it up and read it because it just seems terrible to me. I just do not like it. I understand that the information has been extremely I shouldn't even be saying these things, but you know how these things go. I know that a lot of you folks really appreciated that first book, and I completely understand why. If you haven't bought it already, the link is going to be there below in the descriptions. But whenever I pick my first book up and read it a little bit, what I feel is this is so poorly written. The information in it, I understand, is extremely valuable, and there's not a whole lot of stuff out there similar to it. I don't think there's any other book like that, especially with that kind of life experience of going through that sort of thing and learning from that and all. But the way it's written, it's kind of poor and not my best in terms of literature quality. My third book is not gonna be anything special, literally speaking, either, but it is a little bit more sound, a little bit more polished, and I have all these drawings and sketches that I am at least happy with. I know they're no works of art or anything, but they're nice little sketches. The book is packed with them, and they're just explaining things just the way I like it. I like these grips as well. They just fit perfectly. Look at that. Isn't this, yeah, I mean, for what I got these for, this is fantastic. Yeah, I'm going to be leaving these ones, not worry about screwing anything up or having to put a little piece of paper whenever, if I ever take the grips off or anything like that. That's going to be making life easier, simple, and they're not looking bad either. That's the other thing. They're not bad. I mean, they're not original, but they're not bad looking grips either. So, Colt Python, fantastic firearm, absolutely. No one's going to be arguing that. I just love this gun. Just looks beautiful. It's a multitude of things. It's a collector's piece. It's a fine .357 Magnum. One of the things I was writing about in the book, in the little chapter where I was talking a little bit about firearms, is people, and when I say people, I include myself in this group. People sometimes think that the 4-inch barrel is where it is at, and I kind of agree with that. The 4-inch barrel is that Goldilocks, not too long, not too short thing. But with the 6-inch barrel, you have, it's a heavier gun, but when it comes to recoil, you manage it so much better. Those follow-up shots are going to be so much easier. So I'm kind of in the fence there in terms of, for someone that's new to firearms, is he going to be better off with a 6-inch revolver, with a 5-inch, like my Man Run, or with a 4-inch? The 4-inch is still the thing I would advise most people. But there's really nothing wrong with a 5 or even a 6-inch revolver. There's, of course, this thing, which I also talk about in the book, that with a longer gun, someone can grab it and fight it off your hand and such, and twist it and use a lever. It is a thing. It is a possibility. It could happen. Now, how likely is that to happen? Then that's something else. And we're entering a territory where the kind of person that's going to be able to deal well with that should have more training, additional training, than just someone that is minimalistic in his investment in self-defense. But for someone that is a person that's not going to be shooting a ton, it's going to be shooting very little, 5-6-inch barrel revolver is actually quite a nice way to go. Folks, going to be all for now. Remember to subscribe to the channel, and I'll keep you updated on the book. As soon as it's up in Amazon for purchase, I'll let you guys know. See you in the next video. Have a great day.